Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we are focusing on the close range meta here in Warzone after the season 4 updates. We saw a ton of different weapon changes with the season 4 patch that affected several different meta SMGs, but also a lot of attachment updates that changed some of the core setups on those meta SMGs as well. So as we break it all down today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. It really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. So the first weapon we're looking at here is the Type 100. We know by now this thing has the best TTK in the SMG category. The thing absolutely fries. It's just one of those more obnoxious weapons to use because it has pretty bad magazine capacity and also some obnoxious recoil as well. That's a little bit tricky for some users, but if you can get past that and really master this weapon, why is that so bright? If you can get past that and master this weapon, you can absolutely fry. The thing erases everyone, so it easily is part of the close range meta right now. As far as this setup goes, first up we're looking at recoil booster, helping out the TTK there. I'm using the light barrel, which is going to give you that better sprint to fire and better aim walking movement speed. I'm focusing a ton on strafe speed in this specific build here, so that when you're aimed down sight shooting at an enemy, you can strafe left to right and around and lose them because you're just so fast compared to a normal weapon, and it does throw off a lot of enemies. Got Slate Reflector on there per usual. The folding stock for that better aim walking movement speed yet again also helps out a little bit with that initial firing recoil. Because the recoil is not super pretty, I do still run hand stop here. You could always try out something like the steady grip, which also helps out with the control, but to me hand stop just feels fine. I got the 30 Russian short for the max TTK. If you want to secure some ammo capacity, go for the 48. It's just going to kill a little bit slower and be a little bit heavier. I also got lengthened. You could use some sonic or frangible on there if you wanted to as well. All those work. I've got the hatch grip, which helps out a ton with horizontal control, which this has a lot of horizontal bounce rather. I've got gung ho for that instant sprint to fire. Then also I've got quick on there as well. So very fast setup, and it, like I said, has an insanely good strafe speed. We also got to talk about the new Marco 5. This thing is a top SMG in the game right now and easily a top choice in the close range meta, obviously too. Of course, when it comes to the close range meta, it's pretty much just SMGs. There is one exception today that we'll get to here in a bit, but this thing, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 close range guns in the game. Great mobility, great control, great damage. So it's going to be a solid choice for any type of skill. As far as the setup goes here, we've talked about this one quite a bit recently. We got the recoil booster, the 240 barrel, those 2 fire rate increases there are going to help out with the TTK. We got Slate Reflector, the FR stock for that better ADS and better movement speed. Hand stop, just because there is some bounce here and that sort of negates that and helps out a ton there. I like the Nambu 64, subsonic taped for the better movement, gung ho for that instant sprint to fire. And then we also got quick on there as well for that better sprint speed too. Now, despite maybe not being the king of the SMGs anymore, the Owen gun is still in the close range meta as well. This thing has a very competitive TTK with some of the top SMGs. We're obviously all very comfortable with this by now when it comes to the control, how to use it, where to use it, everything about it in that regard. So it's consistent, it's familiar, and until it receives like a super significant nerf, it's probably going to be in the close range meta. They've nerfed it like 3 times now and it's still a top choice, so that should say something about how good this gun is. The setup here though, we're going for the top TTK, right? So we got recoil booster, no barrel because those aren't really going to help out there, Slate Reflector, the remove stock for better mobility. I am again still running hand stop here just to help out with some of that control, which you might notice. The 60 round drums for that best TTK, lengthened, the taped grip for the better movement, acrobatic and quick on there for the better movement as well. So very fast but also very strong sub. Now, one of the few exceptions to the SMG spam in the close range meta is the amp. If you're looking for something that's not an SMG, maybe you want to use Ghost or Restock or Tempered on your first loadout there without having to go through and grab a second one, the amp is the way to go. They did nerf it a little bit for some medium range and long range in the season 4 update, but not at its max damage range, which is obviously close range. So it's still going to be very competitive up there. It obviously is probably not going to win every single fight against a Blixen, against a Marco, but it is a very solid choice if you know what you're doing. Setup is pretty basic, only 5 attachments, agency task force, the Tiger Team spotlight for better mobility, 30 round mags, then also the serpent wrap on there for a better ADS. It's not overpowered by any means, but it is reliable and consistent. We also got to talk about the MP40. This thing was already a top movement SMG in the game before the season 4 updates. Then we got the changes that buffed the movement speed on subs for certain attachments, and now this thing is incredibly fast. We got Barry Allen in the form of a gun here, while also having a pretty consistent TTK and very competitive TTK and really easy control too. So for players who are looking for something super simple to use, super reliable to use, the MP40 I think is where you should probably look in a lot of cases. As far as the setup here goes, recoil booster, the short barrel is going to help out there with that mobility. We also have slate reflector, the folding stock on there. We got the skeletal underbarrel for the better ADS and general movement speed. Grenko 45, lengthened or subsonic or frangible per usual. We also got the taped grip yet again. I kind of like steady on here for that ADS firing move speed, kind of helping out with that strafe speed. You could also go for perfectionist, which will help out a little bit with that recoil control. And then as always on every single gun today, we got quick for that better sprint speed once more. Now we just talked about how good the sten was on Rebirth a few days back. It is also obviously a part of the close range meta, especially because of the mobility here, both in terms of general movement speed when you're running around, but also the strafe speed is insane, especially with the build that we got here. You can ADS, you can fire at an enemy, and you can move at such insane speeds they will not be able to track you correctly. And I love that. It throws people off so much, and you get some really interesting engagements because of that. So here we got recoil booster, the short barrel will help out with that sprint to fire and that aim walking movement speed. Slate reflector, we got the folding stock for better aim walking movement speed and ADS and sprint to fire. The steady underbarrel here just to have some control aspects. Also, if you need to hip fire, this helps out with that a little bit too. I'm using the Grenko 36 for this build because it's got the best TTK up close. If you want just like a standard build for trios and quads, go for 50. This is obviously very tricky to navigate in trios and quads because that ammo count, but for solos and duos, this works great. And for high skill players in trios and quads, you can get away with using this as well. Subsonic or any of the other ammo types you enjoy. Leather grip for, again, the better aim walking movement speed. Acrobatic and then also quick on there per usual. Super fun setup. Now we also got the blixen. This is probably my number 2 SMG right now, right up there with the Marco 5. I kind of go back and forth on both of them. Is this one better? Is this one better? They're just super competitive, but they're both easily the top choices in my opinion. Here, the control is great, the mobility is also great, and the TTK is very consistent as well. So you really can't go wrong. We're going for a nice hybrid setup here that has good control and also benefits off of great mobility too. So recoil booster for the better TTK, the F3 barrel for the better control, so this will help out a little bit there, make it nice and easy to use. But then to gain back some of that mobility, we're using things like the remove stock, and then also we got the taped grip on there too, so that helps out there. Of course, we're also using slate reflector, the steady underbarrel to have some control properties on there, the 54 on mag, subsonic fleet, and quick once more for the better movement speed all around. So you get really fast setup, but it's not like you're gonna be shooting in circles because the control is too much. It's very easy to use. And then lastly, we got the Arma. This, like the MP40, is one that I'd say a lot of players should use if they're looking for something that is just easy but not you know, a pea shooter. There's a lot of weapons in this game that are super low recoil and super basic, but they have just absolutely no damage output, right? They're very weak weapons. Not the case here. This has very good control, but it also has a very consistent TTK, especially up close, hence why we're talking about it in a close range meta video. So the setup here, one that we are all very familiar with at this point in time. Recoil booster, the 570 precision barrel. We got slate reflector, the skeletal stock for a better aim walking and strafe speed. We got skeletal underbarrel for the better movement speed. 9mm 60 lengthened or any other ammo type yet again. Taped, hard scope for some better control, and then quick on there for the millionth time in this video. And that being said, my friends, that is the close range meta in Warzone right now. What do you guys think of this? A little bit too Vanguard dominant, maybe I would say. Other than that, we do have several different choices though. That said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with absolutely everything going on in COD. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I will see y'all later. Peace out.